Hey guys, it's Coffee and Curiosity Podcast. I'm Jen.
And I'm George.
Today we are going to be talking about the Ariel School UFO sighting. So, come on, grab your coffee, and listen along.
All right, what coffee are you drinking today?
Today I got my iced Dunkin' Caramel Swirl.
All right, let's go.
Let's get it.
All right, so what do you guys think of aliens? Let us know.
Let us know.
All right, we're going to be talking about some school sightings today, primarily the Ariel School sighting. It's a pretty popular case. Let's check if we think the aliens landed at the school.
Let's check it out.
All right. So, it was September 16th, 1994 in Ruwa, Zimbabwe, where 62 children on recess at a private school witnessed about 3 to 5 UFOs flying by, and one of them landed in a field near their playground. Seems like all the students had pretty similar descriptions on what went on. What do you think? What would you do if you seen this as a child?
I'd probably I'm not sure, this never has happened to me, but I probably stand there in amazement and in awe and just stare like these kids apparently did. How about you?
Yeah, I'd probably just be wondering what happened. I don't know.
Wondering what you're looking at exactly.
So there's one teacher outside with the students on recess, and some of these kids see this incident and are scared, running back to tell the teacher what they seen on the other side of the playground, and the teacher just kind of brushes it off, saying, yeah, whatever, it's time to get back to class. So all the kids go back inside and they're telling their teachers what happened, and none of the teachers really believe them either. They just go on about their day normally, probably thinking they're just being kids and silly.
Making up stories as kids do.
Yeah. So the next day, the school starts getting all kinds of phone calls from the students' parents asking what happened at recess, why is my kid saying they seen an alien? That's when the teachers started getting a little worried, and finally they start giving this a little more attention, like, okay, maybe something did happen here.
What's going on?
What would you do if you were a parent and your kid came home and said they seen a UFO or an alien?
I'd probably just imagine they were being silly or telling stories, but if it continued, I might look more into it.
Yeah, I'd probably be thinking, oh, they don't know what they seen, maybe.
Yeah,
So after all this attention, it starts getting, the school invites a local UFO expert, Cynthia Hind, to come and talk to the kids. And she invited a famous shrink from the United States, John Mack, to come and assess the students. Parents were probably wondering what was going on after the school's inviting a shrink and this UFO expert. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that once the parents found out that Cynthia, the UFO expert, was heading to the school with a famous shrink, they probably thought that there definitely was more to the story and something to investigate, so it probably made them feel a little weirded out, you know?
Yeah, it was kind of a weird situation going on here.
Yeah, I'm sure they got really interested after that and wanted to know what ended up coming out of that.
So the child's age ranges in the school are from 5 to 12, and each child gave their own observation of the event. And what baffled experts and researchers is the fact that every student described and drew pictures of the exact same thing, pretty much.
Yeah, it's amazing for each student to draw the exact same thing and for it not to have been like a lie, you know?
Yeah, and since they did their own investigation with each child, that this John Mack guy, since they all pretty much claimed to see the same thing and pretty much drew similar things, John Mack, it led him to believe that what they saw seemed to be what it is what he said.
Yeah, led him to believe that they were telling the truth, because I don't think all those kids could have corroborated some kind of lie and stuck to it individually when they were questioned, you know? He's probably amazed.
Yeah, it would be hard to get 60-something kids together and make a big story.
Yeah, and lie about it and then none of them break or anything, you know? It's just not really logical for that to be the case.
So what do you think they saw?
I mean, from what the story seems like, it sounds like they saw a UFO.
They described a small man that appeared to be standing on the UFO while the craft hovered a few feet off the ground. They said he was wearing a tight, shiny black and silver suit. Some described him with long hair, some described it as a mane, and others described it as a cape. So it was pretty much similar for each student. They just couldn't tell if it was a mane, a cape, or hair.
Yeah, they all saw something similar. They just couldn't justify exactly what it was.
They also said the being started approaching the children and then disappeared instantly and then reappeared behind the UFO. Then it disappeared again, and suddenly the UFO took off and disappeared.
Eerie.
Yeah, that'd be pretty scary seeing something disappear and appear, and it was probably really scary for the kids to see it walking towards them.
Yeah, it's probably, I mean, just imagine that. You'd probably be frightened not knowing what was going on and not knowing their intent on why they were there and what they wanted.
Yeah, exactly. So this thing didn't talk, but some of the students say that he spoke to them with their mind or with his eyes. So basically, he was talking to them with telepathy.
Yeah, that's strange, you know, because I'm not too familiar with telepathy, but it seems kind of like odd how the kids would just like assume he was talking to them through that sort of situation there. But it says that some of them only claim that's what was going on, so maybe the kids kind of just assumed that, but they weren't really sure or something, you know? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, well, it seems like it happened because how would they all get similar things told in their head?
Yeah, I mean, maybe somehow the alien had special unique powers and like kind of took over and messed with their thoughts a little bit or something.
Well, it told them that they were destroying the environment, and if it isn't stopped, there will be consequences in the future.
Sounds scary. But I wonder why others didn't get that message and only some did. That's kind of strange, you know?
Yeah, maybe you had to be focused on them completely, or who knows?
Yeah, maybe he kind of hypnotized and then sent a message. Who knows? Not sure.
All right. So let's talk a little bit more about this alien that they saw. They described it as being very short, like 3 feet tall, and they said he had bulging eyes.
Large, bulging eyes. Sounds scary.
Yeah, so he's short, 3 foot tall, large, bulging eyes, wearing a shiny black and silver suit, and he has what seems to be long hair or a cape.
Sounds like quite the character.
Seems like an interesting looking alien.
Yeah, he's small.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people, when they see aliens, they describe them as small, it seems like.
They do they?
Well, yeah.
I wouldn't know.
All right, so
another thing to note is that something that makes this case a little more intriguing is that a couple days prior to this event at the school, people in the small farming community reported seeing a craft in the sky. So people report seeing these crafts, then 2 days later, one lands near a schoolyard.
well, that's pretty interesting. So people were seeing UFOs previously in the week, and then it happens to land at the school.
Yeah, and apparently it's a pretty small community too, so I wonder what made the UFOs choose this small little community to start coming closer to land.
Why do you think they decided to stop at a schoolyard instead of like maybe around adults or something?
I don't know, maybe because the aliens are so small themselves, they felt like they could relate to children more easily or more relatable to the children because of their size. I'm not really sure. It's a good question.
Maybe they didn't realize they were children or something.
Or maybe they did know they were children and thought they could make a bigger impression on the children than the adults.
Yeah, I think that would be more likely the case. I think maybe that if a UFO landed around a bunch of adults, people would start getting a little crazy, maybe scared or running around because they would be amazed at what they saw. And if they land in front of little kids, they might just be in awe and just start staring.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe the aliens kind of pre-predicted that the children would kind of just listen to them and stare in awe, and the adults would act like raging maniacs, scared probably.
Yeah, you never know what will happen.
They didn't want mayhem.
What do you think the kids were feeling in this time?
They were probably amazed and frightened at the same time. They were probably wondering if what they were seeing was actually what they were seeing, and wondering what they wanted, and they're probably thinking to themselves, like, I thought I'd never see this, and I'm sure it kept replaying in their minds.
Right now, if you were in a schoolyard, but your age now, and you seen a UFO land, what would you think? What would you do? How would you react?
I mean, I'd probably, like, be stunned and have to take a couple double looks, and I'd probably want to know more and make sure it wasn't some kind of joke or something. I'd probably walk up to it and observe what was going on, as long as, like, no threatening looking alien came out of the craft or whatever. I'd probably sit there and stare in awe. How about you? I mean, what would you do?
I'd probably watch it and check out what's going on.
I'd actually probably try to, like, tape it on my phone or take pictures, because a lot of these sightings and stuff like that people have claimed and saw, they never have any, like, proof, or it was a long time ago and they didn't have phones. So now that we have phones, I'd probably try to snap a picture or take a video or something really quick, just to be able to show people and look back at it later on and really observe what I was seeing, try to figure it out more.
Yeah, definitely need to take some pictures or a video of what was going on so you have solid proof
of what you seen and saw, yeah. So people would believe you.
Yeah, if you didn't have that video, people would probably start calling you crazy.
Yeah, it's one for the loony bin.
Well, what makes it seem even more like it had to have happened is all the students still claim this event happened all these years later, and none of them have taken back their stories. In 2010, one of the students, as an adult, said that the craft will never be out of their minds. And a lot of them agree if they could relive one experience in their lives, it would be that one.
Yeah, I bet, because that's so, like, supernatural and cool and so rare and unique, and most people don't ever get to experience that. So I bet they want to relive that and try to, like, look more into it or figure out maybe exactly what the alien wanted and try to observe more of everything they could in that moment.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting case. It's a pretty popular one these days.
And it definitely seems like all the children were on the same page and telling the truth, and then all these years later to be questioned, and that none of them changed their story, and they all had the exact same story, and no one's changed. So it didn't seem like any of them were lying, or no one came forth and said, yeah, it was a hoax or whatever. So it seems to be true. I mean, it's hard to get all these kids to corroborate on a lie for so long, and none of them break.
Yeah, usually if kids are making up a story, once they get older, they're usually going to admit that they were lying or that it was a hoax or something.
Yeah, like you'll hear stuff come out or something, but no, all of these guys stick to their guns about what they saw that day at the schoolyard. So, I mean, it's believable.
Yeah, all these students still to this day claim that the experience was real and that all this really happened, and none of them say, oh yeah, we were just making this up.
Well, it's just crazy to think about. It makes you wonder, like, why exactly, like, what about Zimbabwe made the alien come down and talk to the children, but that we'll never know, so.
Yeah, we'll never know that most likely, and I hope another one comes down to some school one of these days. Maybe then we'll get video proof.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to see that, and I wonder if the teachers at the school now, when they hear kids say stories, if they actually listen a little more and believe in things a little more now, since they know what the kids witnessed that day there at that school.
I wonder if the aliens know when to come down and show themselves or something, because we can never get it on video, so maybe they know not to come.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like they come and they leave fast, and everyone's so surprised and in awe, or they do it so long ago that no one can get any proof of this really happening, or whatever the case is, no pictures.
They must know when to show up, because I would think if they're smart enough to get here, they're smart enough to know not to be recorded.
Yeah, they got their schedule all figured out. They know it all. No, I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying that obviously they haven't been recorded and there's been plenty of sightings.
Yeah, they're mindful enough to avoid detection and recording. So yeah, they're smart. They're more advanced than us, anyways, from all the documentaries we've seen. So come on, they gotta know.
They're definitely more advanced than us if they're smart enough to get here.
Yeah.
What also interested John Mack about this is how the kids' stories connected with other people who he interviewed in the past who experienced UFO and alien type experiences.
I could imagine that would be really interesting for him to be able to connect the dots between these kids and his previous people that he talked to about alien sightings, It must make it seem that much more real if they all have similar things in common. That must be pretty cool.
Yeah, he said that other people that he talked to who had UFO or alien experience said that the aliens communicated an urgent environmental message to them.
Yeah, that seems to be like a common theme in some of these stories, is the aliens concerned with our environment and whether we're littering it up or not,
Maybe we're destroying it and they don't want to see that happen. Maybe they're being helpful.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're not as combative as we think.
I don't think they seem to be combative because they haven't attacked us or anything.
No, they seem pretty friendly. I mean, they're like approaching school kids, so that's a good thing to know so far. I mean, the ones that we do know about, allegedly.
Are we an experiment to them?
Yeah, are we? Are they pulling the strings?
Did they create us?
Do we have an alliance with the aliens and our government?
Are they coming to attack us in the future?
Dun dun dun.
Well, we don't know. Does the government know? Who knows?
I think they do.
It's possible. Maybe they don't know.
Or maybe they do.
I was reading about this case, and one student that was interviewed in 2014, her name was Sarah. Well, I don't think that was her real name. I don't think she wanted to be named. It was an interview by somebody named Sean Christie. She claimed that this was real still, and she met up at one of the local bars to talk to this reporter, and even the bar customers were commenting on this, like, oh, another one, like basically claiming she gets these type of questions a lot.
Yeah, she probably gets them all the time from people coming in to visit her.
She starts off this interview by saying, what do you want to know? Then she says, actually, it'll be simpler if I just shoot. It happened, okay? 62 kids between the ages of about 6 to 12 saw the aliens land and get out of their little ship. When the kids returned to class, they were completely freaked out and couldn't stop talking about little men who looked a bit like Michael Jackson. The teachers told them to shut up, and classes proceeded.
Those teachers just didn't believe at that point.
No. And she also claims that this interview probably wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for the local UFO expert Cynthia Hind, because all the speculation that the teachers and the parents had, that finally this lady agreed to come and talk to the students and got John Mack involved.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that she came and got John Mack too, to investigate it more, see what's really going on.
Yeah, and made it a real case.
Got right down to business.
Also, at the end of this interview, she said, you want to know the real message here? The real message is that this stuff can brand you for life. It undermined Mac's credibility. It became this huge, unending thing for others, and it certainly messed me up. I mean, try telling people that you lived in permanent fear of these things returning one day. Try telling them that you can actually sense when they'd be back in our atmosphere. They'll think you're a kook.
Well, yeah, I mean, can you imagine, like, having this happen to you? Everything you would have known up until that point basically would have been not true. I mean, knowing that there's aliens and little UFOs out there, I mean, that opens up a whole new realm of whatever the hell else is out there as well. And you must be terrified if they do come back. You don't really know exactly what's going to happen. And now you know that they're out there. And most people probably don't believe you.
Yeah, definitely. And so she seems to be scared of these things that they might come back.
Yeah, she's probably wondering like what they wanted and like what their intentions are. I mean, you never know. And imagine like seeing these and wondering like your whole life, like, are they gonna come back? What do they want? You know, you must feel crazy yourself.
She also said that she could sense when they come back into the atmosphere. I wonder if that's true. That seems a little kooky.
Yeah, that's a kind of cool thought. Maybe like there's something once you come in contact with one of these things or see them or witness them, somehow the aliens have some sort of thing over you where you can now sense them or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I would like to know who this student was because they didn't name themselves. Also, what I found weird is in the beginning when she said, she said that the aliens land and get out of their little ships. We saw the aliens land and get out of their little ships. She made it seem like there was more than one, but everybody else reported only seeing one, so I don't know if this is a real lady or she was really there or what happened.
Yeah, that's interesting thought too. I wonder that myself. I can't imagine what it would be like just like seeing a little 3-foot alien pop out of their UFO with a little shiny black and silver suit. I mean,
I think you would run.
yeah, that must be so insane and mind-blowing. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, so do you believe in aliens?
I mean, I have to say I don't think I did before, but now it seems like the more and more we research into this and the more we read and stuff, it seems like there definitely is a presence out there and we're not alone.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something out there. All these planets, trillions of planets, I think there has to be.
Yeah, I definitely say that there's more, there's definitely way more that people know that they're admitting that we don't know yet, and maybe we'll find out one day, but I don't think we're alone.
Like government officials?
Yeah, maybe we're in some secret alliance with them. You never know.
Maybe the aliens created us.
Maybe they did. Be kind of scary to think they're really the ones in charge of the U.S. government and we're working in alliance with them.
Yeah, if anybody has any weird alien cases or sightings or anything like that, you could email us and we'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, let us know your interesting stories.
Maybe talk to you on the podcast.
That'd be pretty cool.
All right. So there's another case too that we seen that it seems similar to this case.
So we have another interesting case here over at Westall High School in Melbourne. They happened to see aliens too, and they were apparently ignored for 50 years on this sighting.
All right, let's hear more about this.
So in 1966, there were over 300 children and school staff from Melbourne School reportedly who witnessed multiple UFOs slightly flying through the sky before landing in a nearby field. And this was the largest mass UFO sighting in Australia, and apparently no one hardly said anything and it wasn't reported at the time.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of speculation about what people saw. Some believe it was an alien encounter, and others think it was just the government testing new technology.
Never know. It's a good point. So there's also been a piece of audio that's been overlooked, which people say is really important. Physicist known as Dr. James E. McDonald interviewed a science teacher whose name was Andrew Greenwood from the Westall High School, and he happened to witness this exact event in Melbourne.
Yes, so the science teacher seen this whole thing happen, as he says, and he gave this interview with this physicist.
Yeah, and Dr. James E. McDonald definitely wants to find out more about this event and what took place from Mr. Andrew Greenwood.
Yeah, Mr. Greenwood said that this event caught his attention because there was a hysterical child. He runs into his classroom and told him there's a flying saucer outside. And he said that he thought this child became deranged or something, so he didn't take any notice. But the child kept insisting, so he decided to go outside and have a look for himself.
Thank God this guy went outside and actually took a peek.
Yeah, we might not have this story if he didn't.
Yeah, he actually did something about it and didn't just brush the kid off.
So he goes outside and he notices a group of children looking towards the northeast area of the school. As he approaches, he claims that he saw a UFO hovering close to the power line.
Imagine his response to that.
He must have been shocked, especially in the 60s.
Surprised.
He described it as a round silver object about the size of a car, and he said it had a metal rod that's sticking up in the air.
That's interesting, huh? Wonder what the rod was for.
I don't know, maybe some kind of GPS device or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that sounds probably like a good idea. Some sort of GPS detection device or some sort of maneuveration device they got going on.
Some kind of radar.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it is a UFO, so...
And then Mr. Greenwood says that 5 planes came and surrounded the object. And he said it was the most amazing flying he had ever seen in his life. He said the planes were doing everything possible to approach the object. And he said he doesn't know how they avoided a collision. He said he'll never know.
Well, apparently I think UFOs are wicked fast, so maybe that's how.
Yeah, well, he's probably talking about the planes, how they didn't crash.
Yeah, well...
So every time they got too close to the object, it would slowly accelerate, then rapidly accelerate, then move away, and then stop. They would take off after it again, and the same thing would happen.
It's almost like they wanted them to see it a little bit, and then they took off again, and then slowed down. It's like they wanted some sort of interaction.
Maybe they were observing the planes and seeing what they could do.
Yeah, maybe they were trying to see what we got going on here, you know? Never know.
So he says this game of cat and mouse went on for about 20 minutes. And by this time, there were about 350 people watching it, including children and staff.
They all must have been amazed.
Yeah, it must be crazy. That's a long time for this to be going on.
Yeah, makes you wonder why some people get to witness these events and so many others don't.
And he says suddenly the UFO shot away and vanished within seconds. It was at that point the headmaster ordered everyone to go back to class. So, over the years, there's reports that the government tried to cover up the incident and stop witnesses from talking. But the teacher claimed it was the headmaster that first tried to squash this discussion of this incident.
I wonder why she was so adamant about squashing the discussion of this incident. Maybe scared people. Maybe she thought the kids and the parents might be scared, or it might scare the community or something. But it seems like something you want to talk about and try and figure out more of what the hell's going on.
I don't know. Maybe the FBI called or the CIA called and
try to shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know.
So the headmaster gives a lecture at the school and told the children they'd be severely punished if they talked about this matter. And they told the staff they would lose their jobs if they mentioned it at all.
Jeez, that seems tough and like the wrong thing to do, but hey.
The teacher said that the headmaster was so scared and disturbed by the incident that he refused to come outside until the object was gone.
I think the headmaster was the one with the real problem, who probably didn't want to admit to themselves that UFOs are real.
Yeah, seems like a weird situation. They were scared to come out, but they wanted nobody to talk about it.
He didn't want to acknowledge of the fact of what everyone saw, then they'd have to realize that they're really there and we're not alone.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Definitely. You know people aren't able to stop talking about that.
He also said that the Royal Australian Air Force contacted the headmaster, and the headmaster told him to go jump in a lake.
That's pretty interesting.
I guess he didn't want to talk about this incident at all.
Headmaster seems kind of like a jerk, I'd say. He's hiding something.
So the teacher said at the time of seeing this UFO, he was a complete skeptic, and he never even considered the possibility of UFOs existing.
That's crazy.
And he asked other teachers to describe what they seen, and it was pretty much spot on to what he's seen.
Yeah, like the physical education teacher.
Oh yeah, it says that she just wouldn't say anything about it.
Yeah, she's probably scared if she did and damned if she didn't.
Yeah, she probably didn't want to talk about it because what the headmaster had said.
She probably scared the headmaster would fire her or something, and she probably didn't want to sound like a kook.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation. So, what do you think this was? Was it the Air Force or military testing something out? Was it a UFO?
I mean, it possibly could have been the military testing some reverse engineered UFOs out. But no, probably more than likely was a UFO sighting. It sucks they were kind of squashed on how to talk about it, and they weren't able to talk about it more, and they try to scare him out of talking. It kind of seems kind of senseless because we need to know what's going on, but hey.
Yeah, we got to know what's out there.
Yeah. People shouldn't try to condone this talk. They should definitely talk about it, you know?
Yeah, they shouldn't try to shut them up. So this happened a long time ago, 1966.
Yeah, long time ago. Nowadays it'd probably be different. People would definitely be speaking out and stuff, so.
Yeah, it's weird that they say the planes were flying all around like that because it seems like the planes could crash easily if they were flying like that by the power lines.
Yeah, I wonder how the planes knew to be there in that area and be flying around and stuff. Maybe they were trying to attack this thing and strike it down or something, you know?
Yeah, maybe they were tracking it or something.
Obviously, it was something there to have all this excitement in the sky.
350-something people were watching this and it wasn't on the news?
Yeah, it seems kind of amazing. Definitely not something that would take place in modern time.
No, everybody would have their phones out, videoing. People would be going nuts. They would think it's the end of the world.
Yeah, people would definitely be talking about it on social media, or the news outlets would be talking about it. I mean, it just sucks that this happened so long ago that there's really no record of people talking about it.
Yeah, we need something like this to happen now. We need the evidence.
Yeah, we want to see. We want to know what's going on.
Yeah, this whole UFO alien case, these cases seem to be pretty interesting that we've been learning more about them.
Yeah, they are. They're very interesting. Makes you want to keep engaging and learning about these and researching them. And the more we find, the more interesting they get, like underground secret alien tunnels and connecting with the army and the government. And there's all sorts of things that are out there. Yeah,
we're definitely going to do more episodes. Probably the next episode we do is probably going to be about UFOs, maybe Bob Lazar.
Yeah, he's a really interesting guy and seems really credible. I mean, you know.
Yeah, he's got a good story. What about that brothel he has going?
Yeah, I don't know. That seemed to kind of pop out of nowhere after hearing his story. So that was kind of weird and odd. But I don't know. I really don't think it discredits his story about seeing the UFOs in the hangars. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to do a little bit more research on that whole case and
believe in Lazar.
My favorite thing that I heard about so far is the Richard Nixon and Jackie Gleason story.
Yeah, that was kind of out of this world, and I wonder if we could find more on that. That'd be really cool, and we should talk about that too on the next podcast.
Yeah, I definitely want to look more into that case. If you don't know about that one, I guess Richard Nixon was friends with this comedian, Jackie Gleason, and
took him for a special car ride.
Yeah, without the Secret Service there, he just pulls up to his house and says, hop in. And Mr. Gleason's like, oh, I wonder where we're going. And he ends up going to some military base. And I think it even said that at the check-in of the base, the
guard was stunned at who he seen in the car when he walked up to the car and realized it was Nixon.
Yeah, he couldn't believe the president was sitting there in the car by himself. So he just says, all right, go through.
Waved him in.
And what Gleason said happened is they go into this room and Nixon shows him this tank, and Gleason at first thinks he's looking at a child or something, and apparently
dun, 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 dun.
It's an alien.
Yeah, they're looking at alien remains or bodies, and his wife said that he was so stunned after seeing those he couldn't eat for 2 weeks, and he didn't understand why they wouldn't tell the public about these.
Yeah, it must have been a life-altering experience.
I mean, I couldn't imagine seeing alien bodies. That'd be amazing and frightening, and who knows how we'd react after that, knowing what's there.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about the story. Wonder if it's true. If anybody else knows anything about that, please give us an email. It would be really cool to interact with you.
Yeah, it'd be cool to chat it up and figure out more info and trade our info. Let us know.
Yeah, definitely. So as far as the Ariel UFO sighting, what do you think? Is it legit, or are the students full of crap?
I mean, I think I would have to say legit, because so many of them corroborated on the same story and continued with that story for years, decades. So I think it's legit. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely think it's legit. It seems like you just can't fake that. All these stories and nobody ever saying that nobody ever recanting on their story.
Yeah, it's definitely legit, I'd say. I'm a believer.
Yeah, seems pretty cool. I wish I was in that school at that time.
I know. I want to see one of these sightings, man.
All right, so
Maybe in the future.
hey, you never know. Maybe we won't want to see it. What if they're coming down to take us over or something?
Yeah, well, in that case, then no. But yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic. I can't wait to get more into this UFO stuff. And yeah, what do you think? Do you like it?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting.
All right, so if anybody else has any experiences or anything we should talk about, any special cases, give us an email at
coffeecuriositypod@gmail.com.
or message us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at
Curious Coffee PC.
All right, so I think this is going to wrap this one up, and be on the lookout for another alien type podcast coming soon.
Yeah, we can't wait to talk to you guys next. Bye.
Goodbye.